The spaceship was shaking. Red lights flashed across the long metal halls. Loud alarms screamed in every direction. A little alien girl was running. Her small feet made soft tapping sounds on the metal floor. Her eyes were glowing blue, full of fear. She looked like a child, but something about her felt different. Not just alien. Special dot behind her. Tall guards in black armor were chasing her. They carried strange weapons that glowed red. One of them shouted, "Target moving through Sector 7. Do not let her escape." The girl turned sharply at a corner and slipped into a dark hallway. She hid behind some crates, her small body shaking. She pressed her hand to a silver bracelet. On her wrist, it blinked, showing numbers and strange alien letters. "I have to get out. I have to find help," she whispered in her soft voice. Footsteps came closer. The guards were near. Her eyes widened. She knew they would catch her. They always did. But this time, she had a plan. She jumped up and ran again. Faster. She passed through a door marked Cargo Launch Bay. Inside there were metal pods. Small ships used for sending supplies to other planets. She crawled into one of the pods. It was tight and cold. Her fingers moved fast across the controls. She didn't know where the pod would go. She just wanted to leave. Anywhere would be better than here. The door to the launch bay opened. The guards entered, scanned the area. "She's close," one said. The girl closed the pod's door and hit a green button. A loud countdown started. Launch in 5, 4, 3. The guards turned their heads. "There! Stop her!" Too late. The pod blasted off. Fire and smoke filled the room. The little girl screamed as the pod shook hard. Stars flew past the small window. She was now in space, alone. Inside the pod, she took deep breaths. She looked at her bracelet again. It showed a new planet. A blue and green one. Earth. Her eyes slowly closed. The long journey, the fear, the escape, it was all too much. She fell into sleep. Meanwhile, on Earth, a teenage boy named Aiden was standing in his backyard. He lived in a quiet town, full of farms and forests. It was a clear night. Stars filled the sky. He liked watching the stars. They made him feel like the world was bigger and maybe more interesting than his boring life. Suddenly, a bright light flashed across the sky. A ball of fire was falling fast. It roared as it broke through the clouds. Aiden's eyes widened. Is that a meteor? The object hit the nearby forest with a loud crash. Birds flew away. Trees shook. Smoke rose into the air. Aiden didn't think. He grabbed a flashlight and ran toward the sound. Inside the forest, the pod lay half buried in dirt. It was still hot. Steam hissed from its sides. The metal door opened slowly with a click hiss. The little alien girl opened her eyes. She looked outside. It was dark, and green things were moving everywhere. Leaves, trees, wind. She had never seen a planet like this. It felt calm, but she didn't move. She was scared. She didn't know if it was safe. Then she heard footsteps. Aiden appeared, holding his flashlight. He pointed it at the pod. His eyes widened when he saw the small figure inside. What the? The girl backed away inside the pod. Her eyes glowed softly. She looked at him like a wild animal looks at a stranger. Unsure, ready to run. Aiden lowered his flashlight. He knelt down slowly, showing he wasn't going to hurt her. "Hey, it's okay. I won't hurt you. Are you okay?" She didn't answer. Her bracelet blinked again. It showed the word human detected. The girl looked at Aiden. Her hands were shaking. For a moment, they just stared at each other. Aiden took one small step forward. She didn't move. Then, very slowly, she reached out her hand. Her fingers touched his dot, and in that moment, for the first time in her life, the little alien girl felt something strange. Trust. She didn't know this boy. She didn't know this world. But somehow, she didn't feel afraid anymore. She opened her mouth and said her first word, "Help." Asterisk, the smoke still danced between the trees. The air smelled like fire and metal. Birds had stopped singing. Even the wind was quiet now, like the forest was holding its breath. Aiden stood in front of the strange metal pod, frozen. He had never seen anything like it. It didn't look like anything from Earth, not a plane, not a satellite. It was something else. Something out of this world. He took one step closer. The pod door was open. Inside, something moved. Aiden raised his flashlight. Heart pounding dot there, curled up in the corner, was a small figure. Not human, but not a monster either. A girl. Alien, glowing softly, her skin a light gray blue. Her hair floated slightly, like it didn't follow gravity. Her eyes blinked slowly, bright, frightened, blue lights. For a moment, they just looked at each other. She sat very still, like a cornered animal. Her tiny hands were pressed against her knees, ready to run. Again, but she didn't move. Aiden knelt down. He placed the flashlight on the ground, letting his face become clear. Hey, I saw your ship crash. Are you hurt? She didn't answer, but her glowing eyes locked on his. She tilted her head slightly, curious, confused. He noticed the silver bracelet on her wrist. It blinked and beeped. Words appeared on it, but in a language he couldn't read. Then it shifted. The words changed into English. Atmosphere, breathable. Human, low threat. The girl touched the screen gently. Then, slowly, she stood. She was very small. Maybe the size of an 8-year-old child. But something about her felt older. Like she had seen too much. Lived through something terrible. She stepped out of the pod. Her bare feet touched the forest floor for the first time. She winced. The dirt was cold and wet. But she didn't complain. Aiden held out his hand. Come with me, it's not safe out here. The girl hesitated. She looked around at the trees, the sky, the stars above. Then back at Aiden, slowly. She reached out, her fingers touched his again, just like before. This time she didn't pull away. Aiden's barn. Later that night, he had made a small bed from blankets and pillows. The girl sat on it, silent, watching, studying. She hadn't spoken another word since help. Aiden handed her some water and a granola bar. She looked at both, then copied him, unwrapping the bar, sniffing it, and finally eating. Her movements were careful, slow, almost robotic. You're not here to hurt anyone, right? Aiden asked. No answer. Are they coming for you? She looked up at him, then nodded. Then she picked up a stick from the ground and began to draw in. The dirt floor. She drew a planet, dark, with sharp towers. Then a small figure in a cage. Then a human reaching out a hand. Aiden's breath caught. You were locked up, but you escaped. And you came here? She nodded again. Her eyes became watery, glowing even more. She wiped them quickly, then she spoke again. 2 new words. Soft, broken, but clear. They hunt. Aiden looked at her bracelet. The screen blinked rapidly. Signal detected. Inbound vessel, unknown origin. His face turned pale. They're coming? She nodded. Suddenly. A loud buzzing sound echoed above the barn. Aiden ran outside. A small drone, silver and black, floated in the sky. It scanned the area with a red beam. It didn't look like any Earth technology. It wasn't from here. The girl stood behind him, her body shaking. The bracelet beeped one final message. Before the screen went dark, location confirmed, subject found, prepare retrieval. Aiden looked at her. We have to hide now. She didn't move. Then, suddenly, without warning, she did something strange. She ran to him and hugged him tightly, desperately, like she was trying to say something without words. Aiden froze, shocked, but then gently hugged her back. Don't worry, he said. You're not alone anymore. The barn was quiet, but the sky was not, high above. Stars began to disappear, one by one, as a dark shape moved across the night. It was not a cloud. It was not a plane. It was something much bigger. Something watching. Inside the barn, the little alien girl was sleeping for the first time in days. Her breathing was soft. Her body, wrapped in blankets, no longer shook with fear. Her head rested against a small pillow, and next to her was a drawing. She had made it on old paper using Aiden's pencil. The drawing showed two figures, a small alien girl and a human boy standing side by side under stars. Aiden sat nearby, watching her sleep. His thoughts were spinning. Why did she come here? Why me? He looked at the bracelet she had removed. It lay on the floor, quiet now. The lights were off, but earlier it had scanned him, judged him, trusted him. He picked it up. As soon as his fingers touched the metal, the screen flickered. For a brief second, an image appeared. A tall tower, a child behind glass, needles, machines, a scientist. Smiling too wide, and then screaming. Aiden dropped the bracelet. What are they doing to her kind? Suddenly, the girl sat up. Her eyes snapped open. They're near. Aiden stood quickly. Ooh. The people from the lab? She nodded. Then she stood and walked outside the barn, barefoot, staring at the stars. The sky had changed. Now, something moved above Earth. It looked like a star. But it wasn't. It was too low, too fast, and too silent. They hide in sky, she said. Softly, they scan, they watch. She pointed to the dark shape far above. Her voice trembled. That is not a ship. That is a hunter. They moved quickly into the woods, hiding among the trees. Aiden led the way. The girl followed, moving silently as if she had done this before. Leaves crunched under their feet. The wind blew softly. But the air felt heavy. After some time, they reached a clearing. There the girl stopped. This place, she said. I remember it. Aiden looked confused. But you've never been to Earth before, right? She stepped forward and knelt down. Her fingers touched the ground, tracing old marks in the soil. She whispered, I was not born like others. I was made, grown in a lab. They said we were created to understand, but not to feel. But I felt everything. She looked up at him. One of your kind came long ago. A human, he was kind. He touched my hand, like you did. And they erased him. Aiden felt a chill. Erased? You mean? His memories, his name, his voice. All deleted, but I remembered. I held on to it. That's why they locked me up. She pulled a small object from her belt. A silver crystal, glowing faintly. He gave me this. Said if I ever found Earth again, I would be safe. Aiden took the crystal. It felt warm in his hand. As soon as he touched it, his mind filled. With light, he saw flashes, a giant planet with metal cities, children in classrooms, a boy in a spacesuit reaching out, a girl behind glass, touching the window, a symbol, two hands joined. Aiden gasped and stepped back. That was real? She nodded. Your people came long ago. But my creators feared the connection, so they made sure we forgot. But you remembered. Yes, I escaped. To find the ones who remember and feel. Suddenly, a loud hum filled the air. The sky above opened. A ship, black, silent and shaped like a blade, appeared overhead. A light shot down, scanning the forest. The girl grabbed Aiden's hand. They found us. A voice echoed from the ship, not through sound, but inside their minds. Return the subject. This is your final warning. Aiden looked at her. We're not giving you back. The light grew brighter. She squeezed his hand. Then we run, again. They turned and vanished into the trees as the ship's beam chased them. But this time, she wasn't running alone. Asterisk, the forest didn't sleep at night. Even the animals were quiet. No owls called. No wolves howled. The stars above blinked nervously, like they too were watching. A black shadow hovered above the treetops. It made no sound. No engine, no light, just a dark shape, like a cut in the sky. The hunters had arrived. Aiden and the little alien. The girl moved through the woods, step by step, their bodies low, hearts beating fast. The ground was wet with rain. Leaves clung to their clothes. She looked up. Her blue eyes glowed brighter. They are near, she whispered. Aiden didn't speak. He knew. Suddenly the girl stopped. She pressed her fingers to the soil, her eyes closed. 3 of them, walking, not flying. Aiden blinked. You can feel them? She nodded. They're not machines. They're grown. Like me, but without a heart. Minutes later, 3 figures dropped from the sky. They were tall, not alien looking in the usual way. No slime, no tentacles. Just cold. Cold and wrong. Their bodies were smooth, armored like glass and bone mixed together. Their heads were covered with masks. Their eyes red slits that blinked sideways. One of them spoke in a flat, empty voice. The subject must return. This planet is not safe for anomalies. Another one raised its hand. A glowing orb hovered over the ground. It started scanning in wide circles. Aiden and the girl hid behind a fallen tree. She grabbed his hand tightly. Don't move. They hear movement, not breath. Aiden nodded. Frozen. The orb came closer. It hummed low and strange. Aiden's foot slipped slightly on a wet leaf. Just the smallest crunch. The orb turned. Red light locked onto their location. Trees behind them exploded. They ran. Branches slapped Aiden's face. The girl moved faster, lighter, almost floating. She pulled him along. Behind them, the hunters didn't run. They glided. Smooth, fast, unstoppable. We can't outrun them forever. Aiden shouted. The girl stopped near an old stone cave hidden in the side of a hill. In here, it's old. Maybe older than them. They rushed inside. The cave was silent, cool, and dark. But something in its walls hummed. Symbols glowed faintly. Not human, but not unfamiliar to the girl. I know this place, she said. Aiden looked around, confused. How? You've never been here. She walked deeper into the cave, touching the glowing symbols with her fingertips. This was built by the first ones, long before I was made. Long before they became hunters. A soft light filled the chamber. Aiden could now see carvings on the wall, pictures of tall beings with kind faces, holding hands with humans. One carving showed something else. A small figure like her. Hugging a human, Aiden whispered, Is that you? She stared at the carving for a long time. Or someone like me, long ago, before we were turned into tools. Outside the cave, the hunters arrived. They stopped at the entrance. One of them held up a scanner. It blinked, confused. Interference. Ancient tech. Organic signal disruption. The tallest hunter stepped forward. Burn it. They must not hide. Inside, the girl turned to Aiden. They'll destroy the cave. We must leave. But Aiden looked at the wall. One symbol pulsed brighter than the rest. He touched it. A hum echoed through the stone. A small door opened, revealing a crystal-like object floating inside. It hovered between them, glowing with both red and blue light. What is it? Yes, She stepped closer. Her eyes widened. It's a memory core. She reached out as her fingers touched it. Her body glowed brighter. Her eyes turned completely blue. The cave filled with light. They took our memories, but not all. Some were hidden here. Suddenly, her voice became deeper, layered. Like many voices speaking as one, we were not made to obey. We were born to connect. Outside, the hunters raised their weapons. Final warning, return the subject. Inside, Aiden stood in front of the girl, hands up. You're not taking her. The hunters fired. The light from the crystal exploded outward. A shock wave of blue energy. The blast threw the hunters. Back into the trees. Silence returned. The cave was still. The girl stood in the center, glowing softly. She looked stronger now, taller, like she had remembered who she really was. She turned to Aiden. I don't want to run anymore. Aiden smiled. Then let's make them run. The sky above Earth changed that night. It wasn't because of clouds or stars, but because something ancient had awakened below. Deep inside the cave. The air shimmered with soft blue light. The little alien girl stood still, her hand resting on the crystal core. Her eyes were closed, but her body glowed brighter with each passing second, as if something inside her was remembering its true shape. Aiden watched quietly. He had seen strange things since the crash, but this moment was different. The cave, walls were singing, not with sound, but with light. Symbols lit up, one by one, like old memories being reborn. You're changing, Aiden said softly. The girl opened her eyes. No, I'm remembering. She turned toward the wall and placed her hand on a glowing mark, two circles joined by a bridge of stars. My people erased this place. They said it was dangerous. But this was a sanctuary, a safe place for those who felt too much. She stepped forward. As she did, the walls of the cave began to shift. A hidden door opened slowly with a deep, rumbling sound. Behind it was a chamber full of floating lights, glowing orbs spinning gently in the air, each one showing a piece of history. Aiden stepped inside, awestruck. What is this? She looked around with wonder and sadness. These are not weapons. They are memories. One orb floated toward them. Inside it, an image appeared. A tall alien species, the girl's kind, walking beside humans on Earth thousands of years ago. A giant tree glowing in the middle of a city. Children of both species learning, laughing. Then a flash of fire, screams, machines rising. A message. Emotion is weakness. Feeling must be deleted. The orb faded. The girl whispered, they destroyed the bond. Cut the link between worlds. Then they made us forget. She turned to Aiden, her voice trembling but clear. You weren't the first human to care, but you might be the last. Unless we stop them. Outside the cave, the forest trembled. The hunters were regrouping. One of them knelt, touching the burnt soil from the energy blast. Subject has accessed core memory. Phase 2 must begin. Another hunter raised a black sphere into the air. It broke apart, forming a portal above the trees. Through it came a low hum. Ship, larger than any Earth aircraft. Silent. Black. Hungry. Back in the chamber. The girl stood at the center. One of the orbs floated toward her chest, gently sinking. Into her body, she didn't cry. She didn't scream. But her glow changed, from soft blue to blazing silver. Her voice deepened again, calm and powerful. I was not made to be silent. She raised her hands. Symbols from the cave floated. In the air around her, spinning faster, Aiden stepped back, eyes wide. What are you doing? She looked at him, eyes now shining like stars, calling the others. What others? The forgotten. The ones like me, who still remember. Far beyond the stars, in quiet corners of space, small signals blinked on. Children like her, hiding on moons, living in fear. Opened their eyes. They heard the call, and they remembered. Back on Earth. The ship above the forest dropped something heavy. A metal pod slamming into the ground. It cracked open. Out stepped a hunter larger than the others, covered in armor that shimmered like oil in water. Its voice was different, colder, layered with authority. Subject 9 has broken protocol. It raised its arm. A blade unfolded from its wrist, sharp, white, and buzzing with energy. Terminate both. The subject and the human. The girl stepped out of the cave, Aiden beside her. She did not run. She stood tall, light pouring off her body like fire. You tried to erase me, she said. You failed. The hunter lunged. She raised her hand. There was no weapon. No blast. Just stillness. The air cracked. The hunter froze midair. Like time itself had paused for her. Aiden gasped. What did you do? She looked at him calmly. I didn't destroy him. I reminded him? The hunter dropped to the ground, not broken, but breathing. Confused, as if waking up. I remembered. Her voice, it said quietly, I was not always like this. The other hunters began to hesitate. The girl stepped forward. We don't need to fight. We just need to remember who we were and who we can be. Asterisk. The earth opened her mouth that night. Not with an earthquake or a storm, but with a whisper, a memory. Aiden stood at the edge of the stone chamber, staring into the newly opened tunnel beneath the ancient cave. Wind blew upward from it, but it wasn't natural wind. It carried voices, echoes. The girl stepped forward. Her light had dimmed to a soft glow now, no longer blinding, but calm and steady, like a star remembering how to shine gently. This place is old, she said. Older than my creators. Older than the war. It remembers everything. She held the crystal in her hands. It pulsed once, and the floor beneath them lit up, revealing a spiral path downward. Come, she said, looking at Aiden. The truth is waiting. They moved deeper underground. The walls were made of smooth black stone, but symbols were carved everywhere. Some looked human, some alien. But many were something in between, a shared language long forgotten. Did humans build this? Aiden asked. The girl shook her head. No, we built it together. At the bottom, they found a giant hall, circular and full of light that had no source. In the center stood a tall device, shaped like a tree but made of metal and crystal. Its branches stretched out across the ceiling, glowing with thousands of small lights. This is the memory root, she said. It connects the past, present, and choice. She walked to it and placed the crystal in a small slot at the base. Suddenly, the entire room lit up. The lights on the ceiling turned into images like a living sky. They saw humans walking side by side with tall glowing beings. Cities built with earth trees and alien energy. Children of both kinds learning in the same schools. Then the separation. Soldiers in black, fire falling from the sky, files being deleted. Whole lives erased. Aiden stepped back, stunned. They didn't just leave Earth. They made us forget we were ever connected. She looked at him, voice shaking. They feared your kind because humans feel more than we ever could. And you shared that feeling with us. It changed us. So they broke the bridge. Aiden clenched his fists. We didn't deserve that, the girl nodded. And now, the ones who remember must decide. To rebuild it. Behind them, a sound echoed, soft footsteps. A hunter entered the hall, but he came alone. His weapon was down. His red eyes were flickering, almost unsure. I remember her, he said slowly. I was there once. Before the lab, before the orders, the girl approached him gently. You are not just code, you are not just steel. She reached out, and instead of flinching, the hunter took her hand. A glow passed between them, a pulse, something ancient and human. Then the memory root spoke. Yes. It spoke. In a voice that felt like wind and thunder at once. Two paths remain. Erase what is left, or awaken all who are sleeping. Aiden looked at the girl. What will happen if we awaken them? She closed her eyes. Some will be angry. Some will be confused. Some may remember pain. But some will feel hope. Real hope, he nodded. Then we do it together. They placed their hands on the root. It began to glow. The lights above burst outward, like stars falling across the sky, far away. On moons and distant stations, on hidden ships and dark planets, those lights entered the minds of the forgotten. The forgotten woke up. Eyes opened. Hands touched metal walls. And in every mind. One thing echoed. You are not a weapon. You are not alone. You are more. Above ground, the hunters paused mid-step. Their weapons dropped. Some fell to their knees. Some began to cry, not from pain, but from remembering. The alien ship that had threatened Earth stopped at. No fire, no warnings. Only silence. Then it left. Aiden stood beside the girl, watching. As the old walls slowly began to crumble. Is it over? He asked. She looked up at the lights still swirling above them. No, she said. But it's beginning. The war never came. No fire fell from the sky. No cities burned. No armies marched. Instead, something even stranger happened. The silence stayed, and the world. Listen. Aiden stood at the edge of the field near his home. The grass moved gently in the wind. The stars above blinked quietly. Like children peeking from behind a curtain, the little alien girl stood beside him. But she wasn't little anymore. She hadn't grown taller. Not really, but something inside her had changed. She stood straighter, brighter, like someone who knew who she was and was no longer afraid. Ships floated in the sky above, not just one, but hundreds. Big and small, dark and glowing. They came not with weapons, but with wonder, and they waited. They don't know what to do, Aiden said. They're afraid, she replied. They don't understand how it happened. Why the system broke. Why the others woke up. She turned her face to the stars. They were made to follow, but now they feel. Aiden nodded slowly. And you think a hug can fix all this? She smiled for the first time, small and unsure, but real. Not fix. Remind. A platform landed nearby. Its metal feet barely touched the earth. From it, a tall alien figure stepped down, broad shoulders, sharp armor, glowing red eyes behind a mask. The commander, the one who sent the hunters, the one who had called her a subject. A threat, a mistake, walked slowly toward them. Others watched from the sky. Aiden stepped forward, ready to protect her, but she held up her hand. It's okay. This time, I go first. She walked to the commander, alone. Her light glowed softly with each step. He looked down at her. His hand moved, perhaps to raise a weapon, or maybe out of habit, but she did not flinch not. She did not run. She opened her arms, and she hugged. Not like a soldier, not like a hero, like a child who had been hurt and had finally come home, got something cracked, not metal, not armor, something older, deeper. The commander stood still for a moment. His arms remained at his sides. Then, slowly, he raised them and held her back. His mask hissed. It unlocked. It dropped. His face was not cruel. It was tired. He spoke, voice dry with years of silence. You remember me? She nodded against his chest. You were the one who gave me my name. Before they took it. A pulse moved through the air. From that hug. A signal, a feeling, a silent wave. Across the skies. Across the galaxies, ships paused. Beings turned to one another, not in fear, not in command, but in memory of something older than orders. Kindness. On Earth, the skies cleared. The ships rose, not to flee, not to fight, but to return home. Change. Inside their hearts. Human and alien. Something new had bloomed. Or perhaps something old. Returned. Aiden and the girl sat in the grass. Afterward, he looked up. So, what now? She looked toward the stars. Now we build the bridge back. Together? She reached for his hand. Together. And far above Earth, where stars whispered to one another across the dark, a new story began. One not of fear, but of feeling